I feel another
Joe,
sneeze.
is your mic working, Joe?
I'm gonna do everything right now. I just got off this. I posted, and I'm gonna go into my cam.
Okay, guys, here we are. Everyone's here. We quit the. Joe, is your
We are very late. We are confused. Nothing's working right.
Very
Intro
dirty.
music's not working right.
Did
Adam's
Joe
all
just drop
dirty.
off the stream?
No, I'm here.
Yeah.
What in the hell?
Adam,
Oh, shit.
it's the intro. Now it's not.
No, I know. It just popped up. Nothing's
Now
working
it's
right.
not.
The encoder,
Nothing's
the
working.
key got screwed up with that. The live button didn't work. I'm dirty. I'm tired. I smell. And here we are.
Hey, I was able to run in the door. I was going to jump in the shower, but then my wife was like, but dinner's going to get cold. And I was like, I don't usually eat dinner before the stream, but I was the good husband and I sat down and ate dinner real quick. So here I am all dirty and
Dirty, but full of food.
full of food.
Ready
Yes.
to rock and roll.
Now I'm going to have phlegm in my throat and be like, cough. What are you doing, Joe?
Are you serious, Joe?
What are you doing?
What is...
Who brought this guy?
Oh, my God.
This guy's
that's
been home.
Canadian. This Canadian.
Yeah. At
Let me
least
tell
up, but
ya.
we can hear you, Joe.
Yeah.
Like, let me just address the audience real quick. So we try to shield you guys from all of Canuck Joe's mistakes and
I don't get it.
goings on.
I know you don't get it. That's the problem.
Like, we could literally write a book on like all the goofy things that Joe does, like his potato camera, his ham sandwich camera, his inability to turn cameras
Wait,
right side up and
Joe,
left side down.
If you if you lay on your desk, you'll be okay.
Yeah,
True.
dude. Just turn it on and lay on your desk, bro.
Remember when we had the same sort of problem with that Mr. John Pastorelli?
Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
I guess must be an Italian thing. Yes.
Joe is basically like our old person.
Joe, you are
I think
still
if you
sideways.
just like turn off your cam and turn it back on 30 times.
Hey, why
it
don't you
might
just
work.
turn your phone the other way? Because aren't you using your phone?
Yeah, I guess I'll do the vertical.
Turn your phone the other way. There you go. Oh, look at that.
Dude, that's close, but hold on.
Boom.
Just upload a picture of the toilet.
And his microphone's not working. All right, guys, we need to pump the brakes on this right now. All right.
Yeah, let's just ignore Joe. Joe's not even here. He's not.
Oh man, this is a clusterfuck of a show.
Mickey Mutu, you got it right. He's Canadian.
Man, but seriously, what a day. I mean, what a week. This, it's supposed to be like a, 4-day work week. It was like hell.
Yeah.
It really was.
I would agree, actually. And that's when you guys say it was hard work, I generally don't agree. But this week I would agree. It was fucking hard.
I gotta be honest, like as much as I like holidays, like to get the time off if I'm actually off, and last weekend I was, so it was nice. It always sucks coming back from a holiday. It always sucks. And it's always just you're trying to play catch up and it's just confusing. I don't know if that's everybody or if that's just me, but like I know I operate a little different than most people. I'm kind of crazy in the head, but
So the reason why I'm late
awesome.
today.
Yeah.
This guy just leaves then.
Screw him.
That's all right.
it's all right. No more Canadians on the show.
We're taking
Canadians aren't allowed.
we're taking auditions and resumes for a new fourth member.
But you can't be Canadian. That's the rule.
Must have a magnetic personality. Have a good camera. Know how to take horizontal pictures.
Wait. Yep.
Show up to a live stream on time.
Oh,
I mean, how?
this is great, and I'm not even drinking, and I haven't even taken a gummy, and I'm having a good time. So, all right, I need. I have a problem. I've been doing this. People have been asking me why my camera is so shaky when I'm in my live streams. I've had a few people comment about it. It's because my tripod sits in front of me, and I put my feet up, and I keep kicking it.
Yeah, I do.
It's like, damn it, I need to stop that.
Yeah.
It's so nice to put your feet up when you're on the show, though.
It is actually.
It really
So-
is.
Listen to what happened to me. This is why I was so late. It pissed me off. So the job was going well. I was putting in a 20 SEER heat pump today. Okay.
Nice.
And doing everything nice. You know what I mean? I used the pipe wiper on it. 100%, to the T. Beautiful job. Although somebody I posted a picture on Facebook and somebody was like,
your job is shit.
Yeah,
I hope you die.
He's like, it's too close to the electrical meter. And I'm like, shut up. Here's the thing. the ceiling is finished in the basement, right? There's a generator on one side, and there's the electrical meter on the other side. Where should I put it? Should I tell him to gut his basement? No, fuck off.
Well, there's no inspector coming there, right?
No.
So who cares?
That's what I said. I said, my response to him was, shit happens when you party naked.
Right. Here it's cold. You got to be about 36 inches. Like 3
I mean,
feet.
it is code. I get it, but the thing is, let's gut your basement, or there's no other option. We could run lines around the side of your house or whatever. You know what I mean?
Not gonna happen.
Right. Or I could just install the job the way it was installed before. Screw it. Right.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
Look at
I would agree.
Al Anonymous says, I guess I'm building the wall on the wrong side of the border. Because we said no more Canadians.
I've been saying that for years, man.
Oh, man.
Ever since I saw Trailer Park Boys, I was like, we should probably build a wall over there.
Yeah, right.
Just think how many Canadians just mosey on across the border and then live off the fruits of our country. Just think about it.
Just think how many Americans come up here to breathe the fresh air.
You guys don't let us in so easily.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful nowadays.
The only way we can sneak in is like me and Chris got to get a moose costume and go like sneak across the border together.
But then you got to watch out for the Mounties because they'll come up and try to mount you.
Yeah.
You know what's
the best
funny?
part.
It's funny is I don't know. Maybe some Canadian chat, if there's someone there, they might know, or maybe not. They used to put these moose statues everywhere in Canada. I just realized I just clued in. I don't know why. They just pop up everywhere. It was like a resembling something. It used to be a moose
Because they love moose.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you call them? Meese? They like Mises? Like a gang of Meese? Mooses? Mises?
Moose. And then they took them out. Like companies were buying them. Companies were buying these big statues of moose and put them right in front of their lawn. I don't know what it was. So every company had one. They're a little bit different, a little tweaked, a little different. But there was still one somewhere in Toronto, and they actually put a mask on it. I thought it was pretty funny. But anyways, that's my story.
Great one.
Okay.
It's an amazing
when,
story.
when you mount a moose or how do you say that? Do you have to like build a stairway? How do you get up there?
Yeah. See, I like to put a love seat right there and like bounce on the love seat.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
I think
right
our moose or meese, they're kind of mean, right? If they come up in your yard, you shouldn't
The
be
bull.
like, you don't pet them, right?
Yeah, no, you don't pet them. They are like one of the most deadly animals, are they not?
No.
I
Bad
want to say
story.
they are, dude.
Yeah, Cyber could know. He's here. I don't know. He doesn't know either. I don't know why these companies were doing it, but anyways. So that's what your week was, Adam? That 20 steer, that's it, or what?
No, that was not the week. I didn't finish my story. Why I was
go
there
ahead.
so long. So this is what happened. So I got the new, what is it? The VP LC GC X7
The VPX7.
.209. I got that out. We got the cores pulled. I'm using the True Blue hoses, 2 of them, dualies. Awesome. Great. We're pulling down the vacuum. I use the pipe wiper, pulled down like nothing. Boom. This is going to be an easy day, right? What happens? I have one of my guys outside, and he goes to break the vacuum, open the valve a little bit, and then put the Schraders in. He does that, and then he calls me outside. He's like, "Why does it seem like there's no pressure in the system?" And I'm like, So I go outside and I look at it. There's no pressure in the system, and he's got the valves all the way open and the Schraders in. Interesting. So I look at it and I pull one of the hoses off, and it's actually in a vacuum. They didn't charge it from the factory. And at first I thought there was no leak, or there was a leak, you know what I mean, in the unit.
Yeah.
So then I pressure tested it, and then I started pulling a vacuum again. And let me tell you, this is a big freaking unit. So the factory charge that it comes with, 272 ounces. Do the math on that. 17 pounds.
Wow.
So I have to pull a vacuum on this huge freaking compressor, all the condenser coil,
Jeez.
and it took forever to get it down. And then there's a whole setup process you have to go through with the communicating system to get it going, charge it, all this BS. When I finally got it down, and I was irritated, but I'm gonna send them a bill. They owe me like a jug of refrigerant and labor for this.
Right.
That is the evacuation stuff. It's interesting. We've talked about this kind of on the side, not really on the show, but I see these people that post, even some of the big, great, amazing trainers post these videos about how if you buy the True Blue hoses, your evacuations are so fast and all this stuff, and it's da 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 da. rarely do I ever see anybody talking about vacuuming down on an actual compressor with oil in it, or an existing system. In refrigeration, we're pulling down on stuff that's been running forever, and you never obtain perfect vacuums in refrigeration and the interesting thing is where it's almost the most critical, because we get low temperatures and whatever, but it's so hard to pull a perfect vacuum. And like you said, Adam, you pulled it on the line set and on the coil. The line set and the coil is nothing. It's the compressor oil that's the killer.
Right.
That's what takes forever, and you got to heat up the oil, agitate the compressor, get the
took me a good probably from the time we were ready to get it going, and then until the time that I charged it, went through the setup process, set up airflow, all that BS. It's an extra like 3+ hours messing around with it.
I did I haven't made a video about it yet. I think I'm going to though, but I did a 15-ton split system where we fixed like 26 leaks on the evaporator coil. But what I did, I kind of faked that one. So the system had gas in it when I went up to it. And what I did was I recovered the gas, but I left about 10 PSI in the compressor, and then it had ball valves, and I ball valved off the condensing unit. So then I put on access ports on the other side of the condensing unit on the line set, basically. And the line set was like 100 foot long. It goes 5 stories up. So I went down to the evaporators, fixed all the leaks, then came up and I only evacuated the line set and the evaporators. And it still took 2.5 hours with the VPX7 and 3 hoses, which is the 10 CFM pump. I mean, it still took forever to pull that thing down, not pulling on the oil. So imagine if I was pulling on the oil, it takes forever.
Those are the pumps that you and Adam were supposed to do the videos on?
Yeah.
On the
well, no, actually, I'm staying away from that one. That's Adam.
How's that video coming along?
Yeah, how's it going?
Hey, listen,
took a nice video today.
My hands are dirty. Oh, you want me to take a video when I'm sitting there MFing the manufacturer? And I'm like pissed off. Yeah,
they charge you
this
for that.
pump is awesome. I'm sitting here for 3 hours waiting for this MFer to get down below 500. This is an awesome pump. I love it. But I did change
I was going to ask. Shannon said a good point. That's why you got to put a 14 SEER Goodman. What was the reason why you went 20 SEER? What was the talk about with you and the owner? Like, how did that happen?
I just gave him 4 options. And he chose that's what he wanted. I'm like, oh,
nice.
Cool. Nice. He went with a modulating furnace and a 20 SEER.
Sweet.
But what was I going to say? We were talking about vacuum, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I did the oil change on the fly today. That's pretty slick.
That is cool.
That is cool. I got to tell you. Yep. Liked it a lot.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get a hold of your helper, right? You're going to, on this day especially, I'm going to say, hey, helper, I forget his name.
Johnny Wang.
Johnny Wang.
Yeah, Johnny Wang. Go kick the plug out. What happens then?
No comment. I'm gonna refrain to comment.
Okay.
So there's a conflict of. So I'm not going to be making a review video on the vacuum pump or the leak detector because there's a conflict of interest. Field Piece asked me to promote those products and they paid me to promote them. So therefore, I'm going to steer clear of doing the review, and that's why I'm leaning it on Adam. So all the comments get to come from Adam on his likes and dislikes. So
yeah,
it was cool.
Yeah.
Does that mean you have to disagree with everything Adam says then?
Nope. I just no comment.
He said I didn't pipe wipe right. The pipe wiper is freaking awesome. I got to tell you, every time you put it in and you blow it through, you're like waiting for it to come out. You're on the phone with somebody. Hey, is it out yet? No, not yet. Is it out yet? No, not yet. It's like there's a little pucker factor when you're waiting for that little. But they call them pigs, I think.
You know what? It's good. I'm glad you're mentioning it because I was going to bring it up actually because there was a big discussion in the HVAC Overtime Facebook group about R11 and pipe wiper. So I never used a pipe wiper before. So why don't you tell the people who don't know what it is what it is?
So it's
first off, let me say something real quick before you give the description. I am deathly afraid of the pipe wiper. Now, Adam, say what it is.
It's the sketchiest thing in the world when you're doing it. It's super scary.
It's like a wadded up piece of paper that you're just blowing through the system to try to scrape the sides of the pipe.
It's a foam. It's like a little.
Yeah,
it's basically going through a straw, but it's
like a slug of Armaflex.
Yeah.
And they have different sizes for different size pipes. And then they have like these, they call them launchers, I think, that you use a band clamp to put onto the copper. And then what are the other things called? You put like a net outside and it catches these pigs. and then, man, it blasts that oil out. It's like if you're standing there, you'll be like painted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that Michael's saying that because that's what I kind of stand by. I've done a lot of change outs and I put them out there. I don't care. Short line set, different refrigerants. I'm not using wiper and I'm not using
Yeah,
R11.
but the only reason
So,
why I did
what
it
those-
today is because it was a 20 SEER inverter, and I'm trying to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I
I
want
hear
this
you.
thing to
I hear you.
last, right?
You don't put a little
Absolutely.
thing on the end of the pipe to catch it?
No, you do. It's like a
Yeah.
little net. Yeah.
Okay.
I was telling my helper to go outside and just put his mouth open in front of it.
Oh my god. Who's the Rico Suave guy? Hey Bill, see that picture there? Who's the Rico Suave guy over there?
Are we
Oh, yeah.
ignoring the fact that Joe's mic isn't working, or are we gonna
Yeah.
point
No,
that out?
I don't care. As long as we can see him vertically, that's fine.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
Let me look, see if it's
We can't have cake and eat it too, Chris.
right.
You know what? I've never used.
Gosh, why not?
Jason Johnson says he'll stick with RX11. I'll be honest with you. I've never used a flush. The only thing I've ever done is nitrogen, like held back on the lines. Have somebody hold with like a rag or whatever. Build pressure, release. Build pressure,
Yeah.
release. I never liked because I talked to different. I don't know who they were. Engineers, somebody from Train, blah blah blah.
Some guy at the bus stop.
Right. What will happen if you leave a little bit of RX11 inside of the line? And he's like, well, that's bad. You got to get it
Absolutely.
out. And I'm like, well, which is worse, oil or RX11? He's like, probably RX11. I'm like, well, if you don't know, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just
but
not going to use it.
RX11 will just evaporate. I mean, it's a refrigerant, so it's just gonna, boil off.
Yeah,
But there's
it?
leftover stuff. There's residue basically from it. And so the first part of my career, I used RX11. I used acid neutralizers, all those different things. You just kind of, if you had a burnout, you'd read on the bottle, it says pour a bottle and a half in the compressor, you tilt it over, pour it in there. I used it for a majority of my career. And I can't say that I ever had a problem with a flush or an acid neutralizer or whatever. I never had a problem with it. But later in my career, the last 10 years, I've gotten away from using anything. All that I use, just because I really start to understand the science of the system more. And yes, I never had a problem before, but I just don't like it. I don't like using flushes, and nothing against people that do. It's just my choice. I just don't use flush anymore. Interestingly enough, most people don't know if you're using RX11, there's a specific way you're supposed to use it. If you read the back or you talk to the manufacturer, RX11 doesn't work unless you pinch off the pipe and create a massive restriction in the system. Yeah, because what you need, you don't want the RX11 to just pass through the system. You want it to scrub the walls of the pipe. And so you want it to back up and have a huge buildup.
So kind of like a
pinch
pipe
off the end.
wiper.
Yeah, kind of like a pipe wiper, but you want it to have pressure. So whenever I did, I could never pinch off the end. So I would just hold my hand over it, and slowly let pressure, and then let it build up, and then boom, just let it go. And you would see oil come out. But I was always scared because it's like, how much went in and did it all come out? And yes, it does evaporate. But I just don't feel comfortable with any of the additives. I stick to just nitrogen now. So like I just did a burnout this week on a carrier package unit. And what I did was
How'd you get a Camaro on top of that?
pulled the compressor out, took the top off the unit, cut the liquid line. It was a fixed orifice carrier, so it had the actuator metering devices. So I blew from the suction side backwards through the liquid line, and just purged the system out. A bunch of oil came out of the evaporator. Then I purged the lines individually. Then I purged the condenser. Then I put it all back together, pressure test, and pull a vacuum. And I've been doing that for the last 10 years now. And everything's fine. So I don't use any additives at all.
Yesterday, actually the guy that works at, I think the manager at one of the distributors I buy from, his mom called us. He had a 4-year-old unit that he personally installed in his mom's house, and the compressor was shorted to ground. So he got it finagled through somehow, or he got a free unit, and he wanted me to install it. And holy crap, that was another one that was super hard to pull down a vacuum on. Had to break it like probably 8 times or something like that with nitrogen.
Yeah, I see. I don't usually break vacuums with nitrogen. I understand the concept of it. I think a lot of people, we were taught so much to do a triple evacuation coming up, and obviously with bigger hoses and stuff, there's not as much need for that. But if you have, you're trying to get a lot of moisture out, like I can understand introducing dry nitrogen to try to get it out and stuff like that. But I just let an evacuation run, go with the big hoses, and then I'll sometimes take a MAP gas torch, heat up the bottom of the compressor, get the oil nice and hot, and you'll notice that stuff will come out quick. If you
I know,
get
but
that
this is a brand new unit, so we weren't pulling on a compressor, just lines and a coil. And it was a short line set, maybe 20 feet, something like that. So it wasn't bad at all. And it took. So maybe there wasn't a good vacuum pulled originally when he installed. I don't know. Not pointing fingers, but yeah, I'm pointing fingers.
Now, Bill, that chiller, is that the one that John is saying he put the oil in, or it's a different one?
No, it's a similar one.
Oh, cool. Pretty cool. What happened with that unit? Do you know, or?
No idea. No, we're just setting a temporary chiller in its place for now.
Oh, no way.
To get him some comfort for this weekend, apparently. So this is the first temporary chiller I've ever even dealt with. Mm-hmm. I honestly didn't even know there was a thing that you could just bring in a chiller on the back of a truck and drop it in a parking lot and run these hoses. So we had to run, altogether we had to run 650 foot of wire from the chiller up to the penthouse, right? We had to run 650 foot because the wire that they gave us wasn't large enough to handle the length and the amp draw, so we had to double tap it.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's nightmarish. My arms are jelly from pulling wire all day.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to cut your story off, but the techie guys in here, the electronic guys in here, some buildings do it too, or guys who see these huge high rise. For the elevator system, they do something with a lot of electrical wires too. Once every, I don't know how long. What is that? That's a lot of lines. I forget what it is, but they do something and they bring fucking lines everywhere through the whole building for something to do with the programming of the elevator. I don't know what it is, but anyways.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You're talking about elevators?
Sorry?
Talking about elevators?
Yeah, it's just something. It's just lines. Like there's electrical lines, like all like heavy lines, long lines. Like there's fucking carts full. And I can't remember why they do it, but the guy told me, but I can't remember.
Like the amount of wire. I've honestly never seen this much wire before. Like the guy told me it's $30,000 with just wiring. It's mind-boggling.
You kind of reminded me of a story. I used to work for a fish restaurant that bought, or they moved into a shopping mall in an abandoned movie theater, right? So this building's 5 stories tall. It was like an IMAX theater, so it was huge, right? And it's just a restaurant in there now. So they have just a bunch of dead space in the attic, tons and tons of dead space. And I worked there for years, and you would always see stuff left over from the movie theater. So I'd walk by these conduits all the time, and thered be just wire hanging out of the conduits. And it's like, what is that, And one day I'm sitting here thinking, I wonder if I can scrap that wire, So I was just kind of curious, and I just grabbed some of it and pulled on it, and gravity took its toll, and the wire started coming out of the conduit, and it's spooling up on the drop ceiling, just coming out because it wasn't connected to anything. And I just started piling up and I'm starting to get scared because there's a large pile of 10 gauge wire on the ceiling tiles, now just sitting there, you can hear it coming and coming and coming. There was hundreds of feet of wire that just came out, and it was just sitting there. I took it all home, and I was like, I'm going to scrap this stuff. And I started to try to strip it, and I was like, yeah, screw that. I threw it all away.
87 cents worth of copper in there.
I threw it all away.
Man.
Yeah. Uncle, I don't think it's just for modernizing it. It's something to do some testing of something. I don't know. I'll find out. I'll figure out. And then it's a very expensive high rise, put it that way. And so I think they were changing some rooms up. I had to move some piping out of the way because they want to make it easier for this routine they do. So anyways.
So it's a routine, huh?
It's a routine. They do this for a reason. I don't know
like a dance routine?
Sorry?
Like a dance routine.
Yeah. It's like a wire dance.
A wire dance?
Yeah.
I have noticed, I wanted to say too, I've noticed more lately, it seems to be at shopping malls. You go into some of those big department stores, and I can think of 2 in my area right now that have temporary chillers sitting on their back docks. You know, and it's like these places have probably had stuff down for a very long time, and then they're opening back up, and they're like, yeah, we're not changing it. Just get a temporary in here, you know, and
jeez, man,
trying to see if they can survive.
How much they go for those things, like to rent one?
I have no idea.
I heard it's like 10 grand for the week.
That's awesome.
But I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Seems like a good investment to buy a big portable chiller.
I've kind of gone back and forth, and I'm leaning away from it right now, but from buying a refrigerated truck. I've thought about that, so that way I don't have to rush these walk-in cooler change-outs all the time. The only the thing that's really pushing me away from it is the liability. So, okay, hey, I've got this refrigerated truck. I'm going to put it in front of your restaurant, but then the refrigerated truck takes a crap, and then it's all on me. You know, so it's like, nah, I'd rather just stress.
Can't you do something where you have like a Wi-Fi connection? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm sure you could do all kinds of things.
And then you could
like
have it alarm you, and yeah.
I mean, you can always farm it out. As we always do. There's plenty of companies that already have invested in big giant reefer trucks, and they'll take all the liability, I would assume.
Yeah. That's it's very rare that I've used refrigerated trucks. I can think of 2 times that I've done it, doing a walk-in change out, but it's so much nicer when you have a refrigerated truck, because you're just like, hey, I'm going to come one day and do the line set, hang the coils, and then we'll come the next day and do the condensing unit. You know, you don't stress so much.
Can't do it. You got to do it all on the same day. I need it running by 5 o'clock.
That's, well, shit. We get our walk-ins are running by 1 or 2, so we bust our asses getting them done usually.
That could be a little good little investment kind of.
I've also thought about buying a warehouse. I mean, this is just random thoughts that have gone through my head. Buy a warehouse that and put ice machines in it and sell ice. So but then I'm like, hey, yeah, I can't fix your ice machine, but I can sell you some ice.
Sorry, I'm too busy. Too busy at my ice factory.
Yeah.
And you're just standing there with a scoop and a bag, scooping ice. Hey guys, in today's video, we're gonna scoop some ice into a bag.
I'm hiring, guys. I'm hiring.
There's like this ice house near where I grew up, and it's just like this building, and you can get bags of ice, but they also have this like big cage, and I don't remember how much it is, but a big block like this will pop out of just a solid block of ice.
Yeah.
Who buys solid blocks of ice like that?
I don't understand.
Ice carvers.
But
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my thing. We've got there's when I'm on my way home every day, I pass by it. There's a catering company. It's not a catering company. It's one of these companies that has all the roach coaches. All the freaking food trucks come and park there, but they have this, you know, that go to job sites and sell the shitty food or whatever. But they have a giant building with ice machines on top. Like you can see the condensing units, and then it just has bay doors, and it just drops shaved ice down onto the floor. And then they fill up the roach coaches with shaved ice every single day. But it's interesting to drive by thinking, yeah, they just open those doors up and scoop the ice and put it in the trucks. And they'll use tractors and things to scoop it too.
You know, that's almost like an idea an old friend of mine once had. I used to live up near a lake, and his idea was to get a minivan and 2 chest freezers, fill them with water, put them in the minivan first, fill them with water, and then fill them with live minnows, and then drive around and sell live minnows. Logistically, there's like 10 problems wrong with that, just in that statement right there.
Well, as I would think, as if the water starts going down in the tank as he's selling
he just wanted to put chest freezers inside and just fill them with water.
Don't they leak?
They might. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is his idea. Like, this was pitched to me.
Just think of the water
as a business.
around. That's what I think about.
That's the first thing I said. Like, man, you go around a corner, you're gonna tip right over.
Although there's people up here, especially in the Maritimes, that put big coolers in the back of their pickups and sell like lobster and shit.
Wow, that's
Not
bonkers, man.
Those are those guys that like come up to you and they say, "Hey, I sell these, and there's a bunch of, they gave me a bunch more meat than than I paid for today, so I got to get rid of this. This is one time only. You got to buy it."
They have 3 eyes.
The guy when I used to live in another area, and for some reason they would always knock on my door. Hey, dude, you know what? My boss told me I can't come back with this meat in my truck, dude, and I'll give it to you really cheap, dude. I'm like, yeah. I'm going to buy freaking steaks from some random ass dude knocking on my door who doesn't even have a freaking name on his truck. Like,
dude, I did once. I did. And the only reason why, listen to this. So I pull in my driveway, and mind you, like 10, 15 minutes away, all of a sudden I'm feeling like bubbles in my stomach, right? It's starting. It's starting. So I'm like hurrying up to get home, doing a little like, just kind of squeezing it together. Moment? Yeah. Crossing my legs, driving home. And then
we call that the Chris clinch.
Yeah. So I turned to go in my driveway, and my wife's outside talking to some dude, and there's a dude in our driveway with a truck and a broken down freezer. And I walk up to go into the house, and she's like, well, I don't know too much about this, but you could talk to my husband. I'm like,
oh, nice.
She pushed it over to me. Mind you, I'm ready to crap my pants any second. And the guy's like, giving me a spiel. I'm like, whatever. Here's $100. I don't care. I'm going in the house right now. So I bought it and the meat sucked. It was awful.
Oh, did it? Yeah. I bought
Oh,
cheeses.
man.
I bought cheese and it was
I was
good.
gonna say when Joe was telling his story. So at my house, on Saturdays I get this really annoying guy that walks by with a freaking cart and a fucking horn. He honks it and he's trying to sell me corn and all kinds of shit like that. Joe's up there, they're
Corn?
selling lobsters. Joe's got a traveling guy pushing a cart down the road selling lobsters.
You got a special needs guy with a horn selling corn.
Yes, dude, it drives me nuts. And he stands like outside. I swear, he just stands outside my house honking the fucking horn, and I'm screaming at him through the window. God damn it, get the fuck out of here!
Hey,
My wife's like, calm down.
is that,
I go, he's standing in front of my fucking house just honking the horn. She's like, he's trying to get people's attention. I was all,
what is it?
He's
Is it
getting
like
mine.
is it the Mexican corn?
yeah.
That stuff is awesome. Just buy his
no.
corn.
No, that's
I know, but he'll keep coming back, bro.
I hate it.
Huh?
I'd rather go.
Yeah.
No, like I'll genuinely
don't
go
encourage
down
him.
to the
Go buy
corner.
it.
I'll go to the corner and buy it as long as he's not standing in front of my
Well,
house.
that's what you
Like,
need to
behind
do.
my house.
You need to go around the block and go to your corner and flag him down in the corner and keep doing that. So he's like, I get a lot of business on this corner, and then he'll just stay
But
there.
wear a fake mustache though, because he'll see you come out of your house one day, and then he'll just stand there and honk his horn.
I think it's like the Pavlov dog.
Pavlov,
Yeah.
Barbara Pavlin.
Oh, thank you, Leroy. Did you ever happen to figure out why that place put a friggin' return damper in that single return?
No, and I gotta tell you, the comments lit me up. People are like, "It's there for balancing reasons." Bullshit.
Is it a one-story building?
It is a one-story building. It is a 4-ton. It's an entire open space. It's a 4-ton unit with a single 16-inch return drop that's 6 feet long. That's it. And it had a freaking damper on the return and none on the supply. That was a mistake, and that should never have been there. And it had a full-blown economizer, so there's no reason.
Yeah.
Now, I thank you for reminding me about this too, because I wanted to talk about this. So, recap. I threw out a video last week triaging a bunch of ACs, bunch of problems, and one of them, it was having an airflow problem, and I found that a return air damper came loose and slammed shut. And so the unit just was suffocating basically. So I wanted to talk about air balancing. I know that you're supposed to have people come in and air balance your building, but I am of the opinion that, and I know, what people are going to say, but I think that nobody should ever be slowing down the airflow to your air conditioner. If they slow down the airflow to try to balance out the building, they're reducing the performance of your unit. Bottom line, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You do not have a window of
You're saying the return.
anything, supply or return. Dampers in general. I mean, and I understand why people put in dampers. I've put them in before too, but dampers really are, in my opinion, to solve poor duct design problems. Because if you design your ductwork on point and perfect, which I've never done, so I'm just saying, but if you design your system correctly, you have no need for dampers.
See,
in my opinion.
The only place I've
Unless
seen
they're
them,
fresh air dampers.
right?
Yeah, that's like an outside air damper, but that's just going to bring air from the outside.
Yeah.
And their fresh air damper, like on an economizer, is going to, if it's a full-blown economizer, it's going to proportionally close the return air coming from the building and bring in outside air to compensate and give you the proper airflow 100%. So you're not messing things up except for bringing in, warm.
I think dampers are okay if you actually have decent static, right? And you have decent airflow. And if you're able to actually balance the system with the dampers and you're still maintaining decent static and decent airflow, you're good.
That's fair enough.
But
fair enough.
if you're starting to close things down while you're balancing, static's rising, CFM's dropping,
See, where I've seen them before is, let's say you have a high rise and they have the makeup air for the whole, the high-rise corridors and whatnot. And they have individual, let's say, corridors. They might have those, those long train systems, but they're, how can I explain it? They're almost like a variable air. They have dampers just to control the static or to control pressures in that space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now,
but they're all, yeah.
If it's an engineered system, like where a legit engineer came in and set it up for the dampers, then so be it. But we're just talking these stupid little dampers that just go and turn. Those things are not.
Yeah.
And again, I realize that, some codes requirements, stuff like that, but I just get frustrated. Like even air balancing, commercial air balancing for my restaurants, I'll have stickers on the side of my air conditioners where the balancing companies come in and they change all the pulleys, they change the airflow. And when they do that, they're jacking up the performance of my unit, period. The air balance guys do not know how my air conditioner is meant to work. And when they slow it down and speed it up and different things like that, they're screwing with the way the unit was designed. It came with a pulley on it. If it has the proper static pressure and the ductwork was designed right, it's going to move the right amount of air through that AC.
Going back to that damper on the return, is it in a space where like maybe somebody, redneck engineered it, so they put a damper in the return because there's some sort of random heat loads in that space, like a kitchen, it sits above a grill,
I mean, it's above the waitress line in a kitchen, but there's no justification for it. And it's a 4-ton unit. What are you moving? 1200 CFMs?
Yeah.
Like and if the video, there's 9 air conditioners in that restaurant. It's all stupid. There's 9 4-ton units. It's dumb.
What CFM per ton are you moving in?
Well, basically 400 CFMs per ton here.
Okay.
That's what we go by, but we don't have humidity. Our relative humidity on average in the summertime is like 15%. So, we typically move 400 CFMs per ton.
You could even do more than that then, right?
Yeah, you could tweak it up to 450 or something like that. Yeah, we don't have moisture problems here. Like it's very rare. I mean, there's going to be condensate coming out of the units, but it's not like in Florida where if the condensate's not coming out, you can judge a unit not working. In my area, you might see a drip coming out of the condensate drain. That's it. So, but, yeah, today though, I had a scheduled job where I had to go out and change some smoke detectors. I made a video about it a couple months back where I had to climb in an attic and it was kind of difficult getting to it. And we scheduled for the alarm company to come out and we relocated all the smoke detectors from the attic up to the package units on the roof. And it went pretty good, but there's still a problem with the fire alarm side. They're having an issue with something. And I kind of got into a little back and forth with the fire alarm tech that was there today because he just was being dumb. But yeah, it was cool though. It was just kind of a long day. Just running thermostat wires and retrofitting the building, trying to get the smoke detectors all working right.
Are they working? I know one of them, if I remember, Leroy's message got deleted for some reason. I don't know why. But anyways,
let me cut in real quick. Leroy said he agrees. Dampers are a Band-Aid for shit duct designs.
a lot of people preach that. I was going to say, Chris, there was one, if I remember, from I think you showed it in our live. One of the dampers was so close to the wall, or you couldn't even get to it. Did you have to relocate it, or
the smoke detector?
Yeah, smoke detector. Sorry.
Yeah. I just left them in place. I just pulled the alarm wiring out of them and just moved them up to the roof. So
now, if you can, like on the communication side, is it pretty? Like I never really screwed around with one. Is it pretty basic on the communication side?
Super simple. The fire alarm, there's 2 things happening in your duct detector, okay? It's monitoring for a fire condition, and then also it's controlling your air conditioner in case of a fire condition too. So you have the fire alarm company coming in with 2 wires. That's it, just 2 wires. They're running to a contact that's normally open, and they're looking for that contact to close to say there's a fire. And whatever happens, however you do the duct detector.
What voltage is it?
You can be, I've seen 120 or 24 volts. All my stuff is 24 volts. Gotcha. So super easy. It's just a bunch of relays is all that it is. So super easy. You can just basically wire it up. But the fire alarm side, there's a little bit going on in there. And that's kind of a gray area when it comes to the fire alarm because some people say it's life safety devices. We can't touch the fire alarm. I do. I don't have any problems with it. I don't get into the fire alarm panels, but I'll just grab their wires at the duct detector, remove them. This morning, the fire alarm tech, they were scheduled to meet me out there, and they were kind of like, well, we don't have time to do anything. We'll have to come back. And I said, just bring me some of your guys' red thermostat wire, because I didn't have any. And I said, bring me some end-of-line resistors, and I'll take care of the rest. So he literally just walked in, handed me thermostat wire and end-of-line resistors, and left. I wish he would have stayed later, because we ended up having a problem on their side, and now I have to go back with them to do a meetup, which is kind of frustrating, because it's like, man, I wanted to be done with that job today.
So tell me if this is right or not. I saw a job that I worked on a couple units at this building, and they had that red thermostat wire looking stuff that was not in conduit or anything. It was exposed, leaving the air handler or the rooftop, and then dropping down through like a pitch pan or pitch pocket, whatever you call it. But then when you look on the inside, this didn't seem right to me, but I'm mostly do residential, but it was hooked to the line side of the contactor.
The thermostat wire?
Yeah, it was like high voltage on the thermostat wire. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know. They might have just been using the contactor as a relay or something like that.
But you can't run that wire exposed, right? It's got to be in a conduit or something, doesn't it?
Okay, so on the roof, it should be in a conduit, but data cable and control wire is never ran in conduit in the attics. So here where I'm at, you're never going to see data wire control wiring in conduit. You'll see it. You should have it in conduit on the roof. It shouldn't be exposed. But once it gets in there, and you can safely now code and all that stuff. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's up to code. But there's a right and a wrong way to run data cable exposed in the attic. Okay, you want to secure it as best as possible to things, but then like for instance, a lot of people like to secure data cable to the drop ceiling wire. Drop ceiling wire is usually kind of like fence wire or whatever you want to call it. You can secure it to that, but you have to, if you secure a thermostat wire to a metal thing and you tape it like this or like this, it's going to rub out eventually. Yep. So you have to double zip tie it. So you do one zip tie, then another zip tie to it, then you secure it, and it'll be perfect. But
also make sure you're running away from your high voltage lines.
Yeah. That is a good point, but I will say that there's a lot of thermostat wire that I've seen ran with high voltage, and majority of the time you're not going to see as many problems, but you do want to keep it away from high voltage to try to stop the impedance or whatever, electric EMF or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the electrical impedance.
Actually, real quick fun fact, I remember my mind exploded when I first learned how shielded thermostat wire works. You ever ran shielded thermostat wire?
With the silver tape in it?
With the silver tape in it. It has silver tape, and it's supposed to be, if you're going to run next to it with, high voltage wires or something like that, if you're going to have long runs of thermostat wire, you want to run it in shielded wire, right? Yeah. So shielded wire has like a metallic jacket around it. But I remember when I figured this out, and I would say it was about 10 years ago, I was reading something, and I realized that for shielded wire to work properly, you're supposed to ground one end of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Only one end, not both ends.
I didn't know it was both ends.
And Heatcraft, interesting. Heatcraft will tell you that, because Heatcraft wants you to use shielded wire for their electronic control boards on like the evaporator coils and stuff like that, the communicating evaporators, and they specifically say only ground one side of the shielded cable.
Wow.
Something happens inside of it if you ground I don't know if they get some kind of weird feedback or something.
You think we have a couple electronic guys in the chat? You think
maybe they could say, yeah.
Let's ask Clive. RTFM, right?
Yeah. So to clarify, if people don't understand, shielded thermostat wire has a metallic aluminum foil jacket around the thermostat wire, and it's supposed to stop feedback or EMF crap or something like that. It's a little techie for my brain.
Supposed to stop.
John, our good boy John, he came up first.
Ground the signal receiving end.
If you do both ends, it turns into an antenna. So I guess you pick up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like ham radio from China.
And probably, I would imagine, maybe amplifies whatever other electrical signals that are floating around in there.
See, look at the chats going off right now. Everybody's.
I remember one time I took a thin piece of thermostat wire, and I was working on a 480 rooftop unit. And in a video, I wrapped the thermostat wire around this 480 line, I don't know. I must have done it 20 lengths or whatever, 20 wraps, whatever you want to call it. And then powered it on, and I measured just a little tiny bit of voltage on that thermostat wire. I mean, obviously, it wasn't in contact with it, but it's the operates just like a transformer would. Magnetic induction.
Yeah, we're getting way techie for my brain right now. I just know the concepts. Like, don't do this because weird shit can happen, and that's all I know. So,
you know what? I've been drinking this new tea today, and it's fucking disgusting. It's gross. It tastes like the inside of my pocket.
Bill's gonna be licking the receptacles later. It's like mushroom tea.
I'm trying to think of.
I wish there was something good that would come out of this tea, but it's not. It's like, I don't know. It's not even chamomile. It's some sort of other garbage tea that I got for some reason.
The is it Tazo tea?
Might be that. Yeah.
Is that a filter inside like Tazo?
Oh, that was pretty good.
My wife picked it out.
Chamomile tea and their orange tea is pretty good. I mixed one.
What is this garbage?
What?
Cozy chamomile. Yeah, it is chamomile. It's Bigelow tea. So if you guys are watching this, don't get fucking Bigelow chamomile tea.
My favorite is the
sick
stash chamomile. Stash tea. That's what my wife usually gets. It's not expensive. It's just
that sounds like it's infused with some special stuff.
No, it's not pot tea.
Guess what? I forgot to mention. We got a dog.
Oh
yeah. How's Pissy She Dog doing,
Adam? So in the chat, right? So Adam told us 4 guys. He's like, yeah, we got a dog, and he sent a picture of this cute dog. And then the next morning, the dog pissed on my bedroom floor. That's all we get.
Pissed
Why
twice.
let the dog sleep on your bedroom floor?
No, he wasn't even. She wasn't even in there. I got up and I'm like, I gotta let her out. My son's like, I just had her out. Okay, cool. Which is weird. He was up with her. He's like obsessed with his dog. So this is like 5:15 in the morning, right? Okay, so I'm gonna start getting ready. Go back into my room. She follows me, turns around, pisses right in front of me. I'm like,
just kick her right into the wall.
So
man.
that would have been a test for me, because normally that ends up with me getting violent, and I have to be very cautious and try to control my rage, and that's what I went to therapy for.
Good.
Because I've done.
You just pick the dog up, like pull his legs off.
I've been listening to a lot of self-help books recently, and I think it's paying off.
Good.
As long as you don't do the shit that I've done, you're gonna be doing good. So don't do it.
Funny, I'll break this little chat with some boiler talks. We're talking about boilers. I don't know if you guys.
You don't need to give us a preemptive explanation of how you're gonna break into the conversation. You just bust in here all the time anyway.
Right. Good
hey,
call.
by the way, not to interrupt your story, but I'm interrupting your story.
If it was a valid shit story, I wouldn't do it. But since it's not, I'm good for it. I had a little call. This is what's great about this little hangout, because we could talk about people in chat could talk about their shit stories. Literally, not shit stories, our shit stories. But you know what I mean? And we could pick up on these stupid little things that happen. But this is a little thing that happened that took a little curveball.
All right, spit it out, Joe.
There was a hydraulic system I did, snow melt. It was for back and porch area.
Snow melt? It's summertime.
Yeah, I'm finishing up a job, and it's part of a job.
Goodness.
I know. And I was having trouble with flow. And you know how valves usually have the coefficient values, how much GPM, PSI, blah, blah, blah. So I'm thinking of my thermostatic basic valve, because I was using you could say a floor warming for outdoor 3 loops and another 3 loops on the other side, I believe. But I'm thinking, wow, it should still do it. And my pump is more than big enough, blah, blah, blah. So I changed it, and I was still getting shitty flow. And then I remembered going, let me take it out again for a second. I took it out, and guys, I'm going to preach this right now. Guys, if you ever have to stop a small hole anywhere, it's called tape. Fix a leak. Anyways, I forgot I put the stuff inside, and the plunger wasn't coming back. So it was getting way too hot on my loop ends. So anyways, the fix a leak was getting jammed up. So what I did is,
let's back up for a minute. This is a new system that you installed. Why are you putting fix a leak in your new systems, Joe?
That's a good question.
Someone screwed up. Put it that way. Someone screwed up, and I don't not want anything out of it. I want to get out of this place.
That seems risky. That's like fix a leak is eventually gonna cause a leak.
Now the thing, no. The thing is, if it was a big hole, like I use my judgment. If it's a big hole, it's leaking. I monitor my level. I'm not going to do that. But because it was very tiny, something I don't know what happened. I don't think it was on my end. Obviously, it was their end. I just put this fix a leak in, and I put it in. I don't care. Once in a while, I do it. So, anyways, the plunger wasn't going out. I changed it to a valve stem thermostatic mixing valve, and everything's all is good. But I'm telling you guys, if you ever have to stop a pinhole leak, any leak, maybe seams, an old system, I've come across. Oh, what do we got to do? We got to dig up this. We got to dig up that. My tubes got frozen. Fix a leak. I put it in. That was our last choice. It worked.
I'm thinking. I think there's a Canadian YouTuber that tries to sell fix a leak shit all the time. Who is it?
I don't know. But this stuff's magical.
I'm being sarcastic.
The TXV guy?
No, not that one. There's another one.
I don't condone it, but sometimes you just have to, honestly.
I actually need something because I have a customer. I don't think that would work, but I need to come up with like a 2-part epoxy or something because I have a drain pan on a walk-in evaporator and the customer's like, I don't have any money, and so they're like, can you try something? And I was like, well, I'm going to charge you to try some crap or something like that. I don't know how long it's going to last.
You got to give them different levels. Be like, all right, so for $200, I'm going to give you bubble gum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's funny because he's like, hey, can you do anything? We don't want to change those drain pans right now. I think the quote's like, dude, I want to say it's like $1,800 or something.
Yeah, they're
like
like drain pans,
They're big drain pans, but the most of the money is both of the evaporator coils need to be cleaned, and they're space saver ceiling mounted coils, so we got to drop them to clean them. So I'm like, okay, well, we're still going to have a rather large bill because we got to get in there and clean the evaporators, and then I'm going to put some glue on your freaking drain pans, but
yeah.
Whatever. I've never put glue on a drain pan before, or epoxy or something. I'm sure there's something I can put on it.
Flex seal.
I'm sure I can do something.
I mean, can't you just like patch it, take a little chunk of sheet metal and silicone that shit right now?
I'm not going to do that, but yeah, I could.
Listen, sometimes there's these big package units are so old and so big, you don't even want to touch anything. You can't even take it out. You have no choice to patch it up, Yeah.
Well, in the past, I was thinking about we used to use for swamp coolers, we used to coat the bottom of swamp coolers when they would start to rot out, and you would just drain them and then put down the coating crap on the inside of the drain pan. So I think I'll probably coat on the inside, just clean it really good, and then just paint on some.
How big is this hole?
They're tiny pinholes, dude. It's just the whole evaporator's rotting out. There's pinholes all over.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a quarter size hole.
No, we're talking like the tiniest drip.
I got you.
I had a customer that had old ream rooftops, right? And when I would go there, he would complain about one of them like leaking water all the time. So he came up with this like crazy like aluminum flat stock coil that you use for your soffits and fascia and all that. And he bent it up as like a secondary drain pan, but like none of the corners were sealed or anything. It's not catching any water. And he did that, he goes up there when he's changing the filters. So I looked at it, I'm like, there's no trap in your drain. So I ripped all his shit out of there and I just put a trap in the drain and I left it. And I came back like 2 years later because he goes up there and changes the filters and he put it back in again and he cut the trap out of the drain.
Oh.
He removed the trap. So I ripped the shit back out again. I put the trap back in. It's like we're playing like cat and mouse with this thing.
He's like, the trap keeps getting plugged. It keeps getting plugged up. When I used to do a hospital work, we would work on water cooled stuff all the time, and we get a call for like the data room, the server room AC not working, and you'd go over there and you'd be like, dude, the condenser's completely fouled. It's plugged up. It's a tube and fin or a shell and tube condenser, and you go to grab the strainer and you pull it out. There's no strainer. It's like, what? I'll go to engineering. Where's the strainers at? Oh yeah, they plug up like every week, so we just take them out. Like, dude, so now I'm gonna spend 12 hours cleaning this freaking condenser. Like, come on, guys. That's their thing is, the strainers plug up too much, so we just take them out. It's like, why don't you put a bigger strainer on there then, dude? Like, so it lasts a little bit longer.
It's a good
Quit
thing
sending muddy water from the freaking
idea.
Yeah, and their maintenance guys, that's what their job is. Maybe they should just do it.
So this particular place was it was an older system, so it was an open loop system. They had a cooling tower outside, so basically there would be mud, and where our equipment typically was in the basement. So they would pump the water into the building and it would get kind of stuck in the basement area. So the sediment would tend to stay down there, but that's why they would always freaking pull the strainers out. It was dumb.
Yeah, if you can, Uncle, I've done that. Just make something up and put it right on top of the old one. I'm pretty sure all of you guys might have done the same. Like bend up a new pan and just put it right on top of the old one. Now, if the trap is able to work.
Yeah. In my situation, that's not going to happen because we're talking about evaporator drain pan that has fan blades in it and everything. But
gotcha.
But
yeah, makes a unit take a leak. Hey,
do me a favor, guys. We've got 115 people in here watching right now. Smash the thumbs up button. Definitely helps out.
You don't have to smash it. You can push it lightly.
Push it lightly.
And let me tell you, my arms are like jelly right now from pulling wire all day. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's been a long time since I really like I had a day that kicked my ass like this.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, 350 foot of 4-gauge wire up the side of a mall. Fucking it's like doing CrossFit, man.
So wait, you pushed it up?
Pulled it
from the top?
No. We had the truck drop off it came in on a flatbed. All the wiring came in on a flatbed, dumped it off. And then we had to, kind of take it over to the edge of the mall so we could rope it up the side of the mall. Somebody went up top, dropped a rope down, and all these wire, it comes in like 25-foot sections, but they all click together and lock. Mm-hmm. So we got the one pulled up, and we just locked them together and kept pulling them up one at a time. Just a big long rope of fucking electrical wire, man.
So is this in conduit?
No, it's like insulated. Like
okay. So it's temporary. Okay, got you.
Like it's gigantic SOJ cord to me is what it looks like.
Yeah, I know. I know exactly what you mean.
It's just crazy. It's crazy how much that wire weighs. You just look at it like, I can't weigh that much. Then you're dragging it, 40 feet up the side of a mall. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get at this job, and they called, and I passed the buck to somebody else above me because I didn't want to get involved. But apparently this big job, they want us to put a unit in. And as soon as she says, so we don't have gas up here, we have geothermal. I'm like, oh, fuck. I started going, oh, boy. How are we going to get 150,000 BTUs to heat up your air and your water, right? So I just passed it on. But if I get it, she says it's engineered in, so I don't know how they did it.
It's really engineered in to pull that much heat out of the earth.
They have that much room in their.
Well, it's a new build for this area, okay. But they want to use a pre-existing geothermal, and I'm like, you need at least 150,000 BTUs for water and your air. Where are you going to get all that tonnage of heat from the geothermal? It's going to starve the system.
Do you guys have like actual
engineer drawing it?
No. I'm thinking sometimes like they'll use geothermal in areas where they have like
ground hotter than normal groundwater,
like volcanic crap in the ground and stuff like that.
Oh,
like natural.
I doubt it.
What do you call that stuff? I'm trying to think of a word right now.
I have no idea. But I doubt it. I like
hot farts. Is that what you're thinking of?
Like, are you talking about Old Faithful?
Well, like stuff like that. Yeah, they have like I can't think of the word right now, but
hot farts.
But they have stuff underground where you actually have like mass amounts of heat that you can get.
Really?
In certain areas that are like
well, they don't have this, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But so I'm curious. I'm gonna see. She was a little naive on the subject, so I'll see what happens. And I doubt she's gonna like have how much tonnage that is of heat you need. I doubt that unit has that extra heat. But we'll see. If I get it, we'll see how they make it during the engineering drawings.
Hey, speaking of engineered stuff and water, not to cut you off, Joe, but that's
natural hot springs is what I was looking for.
Cut them off.
See how Chris cuts me off? Like he doesn't even explain.
Well, I had to get it out before you guys change the subject 27 times.
That's what we're gonna do, actually.
Yeah.
So with this temporary chiller that we're putting in, like the water of this temporary chiller, it's got a separate pump off this temp chiller, and that separate pump housing. What I was thinking of is if that pump is rated for the vertical lift on the water that we got to start, because we got to push this water 40 foot up the side of this mall to get to the penthouse. So the pump, I think it's rated at 500 GPM at 100 head.
Okay.
Kind of know what that means, but not really. So tell me what that means, Joe.
Why you put me on the spot?
Hey, man. Mr. Snowmelt and the summertime boiler guy.
Well, I'm gonna segue into that, and it's gonna tie into this. I watched this channel on YouTube called Ghost Town Living, and it's a dude who just bought a ghost town out here in the desert in California, and it has active mines, and he has a mine that goes down 800 feet, and he has a natural spring at the bottom of the mine, so he has a pump down there. And someone has gone in there and ran water lines from the bottom of the mine all the way up, like 800 feet of lines.
Jeez.
And the dude complains, though. He's like, yeah, every time we put in a pump, 3 weeks later, the pump fails.
Yeah.
And I've watched this dude replace the pump 3 times now. And he's having people come in like, oh, yeah. But every time he comes in, he's like, yeah, I got an electrician to come in and change the pump. And I'm sitting there thinking, I think you need more than an electrician, bro. You need someone that knows how to size the water lines. Like,
and, right, but he's using like a 3/4 inch hose to pump up 800 feet or whatever. Like it's ridiculous.
Have you seen what I'm talking about?
It's so stupid. I'm like yelling at my screen as I was watching it. I'm like,
yeah. Every time I'm like, dude, you're like, it blows my mind. It's like,
so has
nobody figured this out yet?
He has a huge pump that is able to do how much? Like I don't
even know if it's engineered right. I mean,
it's definitely not.
Water line's too small.
Yeah.
He had like,
but yeah, he's basically got 3/4 inch PVC. Coupled into iron pipe, coupled into PVC, like running up the shaft of this vertical. It's a single vertical shaft.
He said shaft.
Yeah, and he keeps burning through pumps. It's like, dude, I feel like if you just called someone who knew what they were doing, they could probably figure this out.
But
and you could have water.
Call? He lives in a ghost town. He has nobody to call.
Yeah, but he's have freaking 1 million subscribers, dude. I'm sure someone's reached out to him by now.
Look, I don't even have to explain. See, it's all in chat, Bill. Somebody mentioned something about the generator, and I think that's had to do something with those cables. Now that I think of it, those cables I was talking about, something about the generator. I think
it's funny. A lot of people watch him.
That's a good point.
There's
One piece
people in the chat.
3 feet. Yeah.
There's people in the chat saying they all watch him too. I love his channel. It's awesome.
What's he do? He's a miner?
No, he just bought a ghost town. He bought a ghost town with a business partner.
Chris watches lots of videos with miners.
I do. Yes, I do.
Oh my god.
No, I watch lots of random videos, but no, it's he just bought a ghost town and he's like transforming it into like a tourist destination. I'm just ignoring your guys' mean puns.
You're good, Chris. You're good. Yeah. No, it sounds.
I mean, like coal miners. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. What kind of miners are you talking about, Chris?
Yeah, Joe, you pervert.
Crypto mining.
I was gonna mention because I've seen you do it. I've seen Chris do it on a few of his videos. The approach, condenser approach, or just approach, let's say a measure quick, and how better that is, less evasive. Like let's say for heat pumps, I use it for heat pumps as well. It's more of the approach method, more of the non-invasive method. So that's cool. Like I see you do that, and it's pretty cool that you do it. I just want to comment you on that because sometimes with these package units, the approach is more getting more information from the approach than anything else. I think it's better than anything.
So can I give you? I have some opinions about the approach, right? So one of the first people to use it that I ever came across in air conditioning was Lennox. Lennox used to put it on a lot of their equipment. And I've really kind of thought about this back and forth, and I get the whole idea of, non-invasive, right? It's an interesting idea, but I think that a lot of people lean towards the approach because of the problem that we run into with not actually having a liquid line connection majority of the time. If you do not have a liquid line pressure connection, how do you check subcooling accurately which each manufacturer, you can have a rather large pressure drop, anywhere from 25 PSI to 35 PSI across the condenser. So if you get discharge pressure and try to calculate subcooling, it's not going to be accurate. So approach, unless someone adds a liquid line service port, approach might be an easier way to actually gauge. But with each manufacturer, you have to know what kind of a pressure drop their condenser has across it. And a lot of times we don't have this information. So we just kind of have to look at everything. So when I will use approach every once in a while, I'll be working on a Lennox package unit now. Now we have liquid line pressure ports, and I'll check subcooling. I'll look at the approach temperature, and I'll kind of look at everything and say, okay, typically they want to see 6 degrees approach. I see, this, and then I'll just kind of come up with something.
Hey, what is this approach again?
Approach is ass backwards subcooling. Okay. It's liquid line surface temperature compared to outdoor air temperature.
Ambient, yeah.
So the ambient air entering the condenser and the surface temperature of the liquid line.
Why?
And
Why
cooling towers is the same. Water cooled towers are the same thing, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Leaving water and ambient pretty much for wet bulb. Same thing, 7 degrees, whatever. There's
so if you ever work on a Linux package unit, Bill, and you look at the charging instructions on like an LGA package unit or whatever, Energins unit, it'll have pressures on there. Like you should be these pressures at this relative humidity. And if you're close to that, you can look at the approach temperature to dial in your charge if you're not weighing in the factory charge.
No, I don't know if we talk about this last week. We might have. We talked about this a while ago, I think. But why don't they put liquid line pressure ports? Like what's?
I mean, I put them on. I don't know. I add them. I worked on a carrier package unit the other day, and I added a liquid line pressure port because I was working on it. You know, I was like, now I can check subcooling.
You see John's complicated way of explaining that?
What did he say?
With his engineering words, approach is the difference between the process leaving and source entering temps.
That makes sense. It's the liquid line surface temperature, the gas leaving the liquid line compared to the air entering the condenser if you're doing air conditioning. So
yeah, but you didn't use $5 words to explain it.
No, I use dumb logic.
That's the kind I need.
Hausch says he doesn't see that big of a pressure drop.
You can use you can use discharge line temperature similar to the approach. I've not found the pressure drop to the grate across condensers.
I'll measure on a perfectly good system anywhere from 25 to 35 psi pressure drop. Now that's
condenser?
between discharge line temperature and liquid line temperature. Yeah.
Wow, that's a huge pressure drop.
Anywhere between. Yeah, I've seen it. You know, but depending on which one, you know, who you're working on. I think the other day, I think I have it on a video somewhere where I was showing it. I don't remember which video, but I see quite a pressure drop across it. Now, it may change from like residential equipment to different stuff. I don't know. I don't see a big pressure drop on refrigeration at all. Refrigeration, you don't see a pressure drop typically.
Yeah, I can honestly say I don't know of a time that I've actually ever consciously measured that.
Well, what really got me thinking about it was, you know, when you put on Measure Quick or the Fieldpiece JobLink app or anything, and I would constantly see 18 degrees subcooling, 21 degrees subcooling with factory charge, and it's working properly. And I'm like, why does it have such a high subcooling? And then I start thinking, oh, I'm looking at discharge pressure. And then you'll actually measure the difference between, they'll have a liquid port and you'll measure that and and you're like, oh shit, that's why you need to be on the liquid port. And you'll see, you know, a significant.
You see, when it comes to PSI and like the temperature, pressure. I can't even speak. It's not a big deal. Like the difference, like the temperature difference.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
it makes sense. You could look at it 2 ways.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool method. I think to a degree, I guess.
No,
it's great that we have that available.
Sorry, the pressure drop was not on a micro channel. This was on standard tube and fin. And I notice it differ from manufacturer to manufacturer too. And it could be the SEER rating or who knows. I don't know. Yeah. Again, it's a little bit more than what I have knowledge about.
You know, the other thing that I did this week that was super exciting.
What did you do?
Got my hands in a mini split.
Oh.
the one I was talking to you guys about earlier this week.
Did you fix it?
I haven't been back yet. No, I couldn't even find the leak. I mean, I got what is it? The Infocon D leak detector. I couldn't find a leak anywhere on that thing. You know, it wasn't going off. I'm 90% sure it's low on charge though, because what we did, you know, we shut it off and then just check pressures in ambient standing conditions. I guess it was 36 degrees on a 72 degree day, so
you find
pretty sure it's low. What's that?
Did you find anything or no?
I found a quarter earlier today on the side.
How was the evaporator coil clean?
Yeah.
Evap was clean. Airflow was good. Condenser, I cleaned it just to be sure. There's a little bit of cottonwood buildup on there. Now, quick story, side note. This is the first mini split I've ever worked on, man. So I'm not really an expert on these. Overall, I think they're junk. I think you should throw them away anytime they have any sort of issue.
They totally
even the
are.
teensy of issue, fucking throw them away.
I think that we should just come out with it whenever you sell a mini split. Just let the customer know. Don't even bother putting a filter in there because it doesn't do anything, and just plan on changing the blower wheel in 6 months. And I'm not changing just the blower wheel either. I'm changing the damn motor with it. I'm pulling the motor and blower wheel out, putting a new one in 6 months, and moving on. It seems like every mini split I've worked on, I have a few in restaurants, and the blower wheels, they'll have filters in them, and the filters will be sparkly clean, and the blower wheel is just caked. You know,
I have another mini split that I went out on, and it's in a building that's being completely renovated, an old, I don't know, 150-year-old building that's being turned into offices. Beautiful building. But they have this one office that's been divided into 2 offices. They put a glass wall up. So they have 2 mini splits in there. These mini splits are 14 years old. And the complaint right now is that they're too loud. Now,
What?
I went there and like they're not loud. They're noticeable. They're definitely noticeable. The noise is very prominent, especially because there's nothing else in that whole building making noise right now.
Yeah.
Because it's under renovations. But it's just like a electric whirring motor noise.
Yeah.
And
too.
Yeah, they're 14 years old too. So I mean they're gonna be a little bit louder, but there's no grinding, banging, ticking, like nothing else. And the customer wants me to change the fan motors.
Oh, those are awful to take apart. I hate it.
I was like telling them, like, man, you're better off to just buy new ones. I'm telling you.
I had
the one sits so tightly up against the wall, we have to basically uninstall it, take it off the wall, and then replace the fan motor, then reinstall it.
Yamaha would have that done in like 15 minutes.
We did one, a Mitsubishi, whatever, mini split on the wall hung unit, and it was over in a tiny server room. And myself and another tech, we actually stood on the server rack up on top. He held the thing away from the wall while I pulled the damn blower motor out, and then we just both were standing on top of the server rack the entire time. I'm sure that was all approved. If the IT guy saw us, he'd probably lose a shit.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, what else am I supposed to do? You're complaining it's hot in your freaking room. Build a bigger room.
Yeah, I'm actually
bigger
about
air conditioner in there.
Yeah.
I'm quoting multiple multi-split jobs right now.
Yeah.
One is a primary source of heat, which is gonna be fun. Yeah.
So heat. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it for heat. That's it.
Was that the whole story?
That's it. I don't like them.
Oh yeah,
I thought you were gonna start pushing like window shaker units on your freaking new.
I would honestly rather have a window shaker than a mini split. I know that sounds crazy, but
yeah.
Well, I take that back. I would rather have a mini split as long as people treated mini splits like they do window shakers. Because in my mind, for the most part, the $1,500, $2,000, whatever ones that are commonplace in my area at the very least, like those ones, it's like a window shaker, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you get into these more expensive ones, the multi-cities, the branch boxes, the heads, the whole building engineered system, that's different. But
sure.
I had one of my good customers called me because he has an office. He owns a bunch of restaurants, but he's like, hey, I got this business office, the space I'm renting out. He's like, can you go check out the air conditioning system? And I went over there and I go, dude, it's a window shaker. But it's like a 2-ton window shaker. It's freaking huge, dude. I kid you not. The thing is like 3 feet.
That's awesome.
It looks like a PTAC, but it's not.
It's like a package unit sitting in his window.
Yeah. And I just looked at it and I'm like, I so I think I sent you guys pictures in the chat. They took off the front faceplate and then he put an electric fan in front of it and it's blowing the air across the room. And I just looked at it. I'm like, dude, I don't even want to touch this thing. Like, and I don't even want to change it either. Cause I'm like, how the hell am I going to get that? And it's up on I'm on an 8-foot ladder. And I'm like, how did this thing even get up here?
Wow.
Like
a crane.
Yeah. And it comes into the bit like, it's freaking nuts, dude. Like, no, I told him you need to call someone that specializes in that crap. Cause
I installed
that's nobody.
I installed a mini split. It was a huge, I can't remember the size, but it was a monster single zone mini split. I want to say it was like a 2-ton or a 3-ton or something crazy. It was like a friend of a friend that he bought all the shit online. He was going to do it himself. And then
oh dear,
can you help me out? And I get there. I'm like,
cool.
Yeah, no problem. I look at the thing. First off, the wall unit weighs like 75 pounds and it's like 12 feet long. I'm like, I need like 3 guys to put this thing up there. I never saw anything that big before in my life.
12 feet long.
No, it wasn't really that long, but
it's like 4 foot long.
Something like it was big. Yeah. It was very big. It was big.
You know what? This year actually, I have to do it. Up here, it seems like a lot of people don't want to see that crap on their walls or cassettes in the ceiling, which I like the cassettes as well. So
That's one of my other beefs with them too.
Yeah. So I might have to size up like a Unico system, because honestly, they don't want to see that crap, and they'd rather just have like small whatever holes.
Yeah, the first thing I think of when I see those wall-mounted split systems, I'm like, oh, you got a printer on your wall, huh? That's
cool. Yeah, I never done.
If it wasn't for the cleaning and the pain in the ass, I'd put in freaking mini splits all throughout my house. But it just sounds like a process, running line sets everywhere. It just sounds like a pain in the ass, dude. But the way that I see a mini split is, if I put one on there, I'm just going to change it out in 3 years. You know,
what I'd love to have, I would love to put a package unit next to my house and
duct it,
just duct it right in. I would love that.
Life would be easy, right?
I don't know how that would go though. It seems really hard.
Well, that's what they do in the South.
Now here in my area, well, not in like, I'm in newer houses, but in a lot of the older houses in Southern California, they just put package units on the roof, and they'll have a platform up there. And
yeah, I seen that.
If you watch, what is it, Juan, the air conditioning guy? Juan,
the air conditioning guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he does them a lot too. He'll do package units on the roof in the areas he's working, and then also Dizzy Dallas does them a lot too. He'll show package units on the roof too.
I haven't seen Dizzy around.
He posted today for the first time in a while. Yeah, a video popped up on my feed.
Oh. Yeah, ducted, Michael, or high velocity. It has to be. They're not common, but like some people don't want to see that crap, that plastic bumble jumble on the walls. It just makes the house look like a motel, and nobody wants to see that crap in these nice houses. You know?
You go to anywhere south of me and like Mexico, you go to a lot of other countries, and it's mini splits galore. That's all there is. Freaking mini splits on the wall.
Or like Kelly said, P-tax.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of the world think we're crazy. Like, you're gonna heat and cool your whole house? Why? Like, their thought process is, we heat and cool the areas that we're in when we're there. You know,
we are crazy if you think about it. Like, why did we ever settle in California? California, the southern part of California, is a legit desert that we have to bring water from other states. We have canals that run all the way from other states that bring water into California so that we can live in a desert. Like, and so we have to have air conditioning because it's 112, 115 degrees in the summertime, you know? So it's kind of crazy. We are crazy, I was kind of saying.
So move back to Missouri or wherever you came from.
Yeah, I think it's time to get out of there.
I should move back to Missouri, dude.
I've seen a lot of posts. Look like they're dire. Well, everywhere is dire need of HVAC techs, but Missouri has been getting. I've been seeing a lot of Missouri.
Everywhere needs them.
Yeah,
everywhere needs them. I hired a new guy. He's going to be starting in a couple weeks. Actually, he just gave. I think he's given his notice on Monday with the company he's working for. But he's a full-fledged apprentice.
Is that the guy we talked about?
No.
Did he pass? No. Did he pass?
I made an offer to an experienced guy, and he didn't take it. And in all fairness, I offered him less than he wanted because I needed to train him. So, you know, it is what it is. But no, I hired an apprentice. So
nice.
Interesting.
He'll be riding with me for a foreseeable future, basically.
Did you lay out any sort of a foundation of incentives? Like, hey, you need to stay with me for a lot longer. Like, after you know what's going on, don't just up and quit and.
We told them. I mean, you can't. First off, California, non-competes, none of that stuff matter. None of that will hold up in court, right? You can't do anything. So, but I just told the guy, I said, look, I'm going to make an investment in you. I'm going to invest a year, 6 months to a year of making no money off of you. Absolutely no money. And you're going to be riding with me, and you're going to be shadowing me and learning. And I want to teach you everything. But I said, you got to make a commitment to me here. You know, I need a couple years from this. I can't just give you all this time and have you bounce, which is typically what happens. I mean, there's nothing I can do. You just hope.
Yeah.
I'm sure I know there's a lot of things I can do that would make people stay. You know, and my attitude has a lot to do with it. So if I could be a nicer person, I'm sure it would help.
Good to see you, Brandon. What kind of package units are you talking about, buddy? Sorry.
You're asking about his package? I heard good to see you, Brandon. What kind of package? And I'm like, where's Joe going with this one?
What kind of package you sporting there, bud?
Yeah. It would have been great to segue out of here, but you know what? I think Adam is in La La Land.
Distracted.
We're not. I thought we're not segueing anymore. We're actually having a wrap
Conversation.
up. Yeah, we're having a wrap up. I'm waiting for the.
That's right.
I got yelled at for just cutting the show before. I get yelled at every week. And you're like, when are you gonna end it? When are you gonna end it? What's going on? It's
Did
so
I yell at
Probably
you?
you, Joe.
Joe is like
you're like the school marm of the group.
No. We yell because he sleeps on that button. He doesn't push the button.
So would you like me to push the button?
Sorry?
I think that we're going to go ahead and close this one out.
Yeah, you should push the button. I dare you to push the button.
Yeah, it definitely started a little late. We apologize for that. And Bill's talking over me like an asshole.
I pushed all my buttons.
You know,
but nipples.
We're going to wrap it up, and we will catch you guys
on your nipples
next week.
Nipples.
Can you mute that asshole above me?
Nipples.
All right. So is this the point where I push the button?
This is the point in which you push the button.
Channel package unit.